Zach, we're almost at the finish line, and I got to be honest with you. I'm getting close. I'm getting antsy, and I feel like we're more prepared than ever. We went through the whole process, but what we haven't done, Zach, is talk about, will this team trade back? Will this team trade up? So today, what we're gonna do is we're gonna look at a few scenarios. We're gonna look at a scenario that was actually presented to me on Twitter, and I said, you know what, this could really happen, and we're gonna talk about trades. But before we do that, Zach, how you doing, man?
Good. Like you said, we're almost at the finish line here. We were talking about it earlier, getting that draft fatigue. Like we're getting to the end of the road here. We're kind of ready for draft night. I'm just glad we're here. Beautiful Saturday morning. And I'm happy to be here with you.
We're recording this on a Saturday morning. We got together, Zach and I said, you know what? Let's talk about what if a certain situation happens where you're wiped out. Now, quick housekeeping note, guys, we are going to be going live on draft night with Skywalker still. He'll be quarterbacking. Me and Zach will be giving color. We got all these fancy layouts and everything. Zach and Sky are really behind the scenes, and we'll just be giving our thoughts. All 32 first-round picks. Obviously, the Cowboys pick, but we'll just be talking about all 32 because what is going to happen in the second and third round on day 2 does matter. We'll have our rankings up. Also, remember, me and Zach have been producing a draft guide. You guys make sure that you guys tap in with that. This draft season, from start to finish, me and Zach went to the Senior Bowl. We're up late at night talking about the combine results. So we got you guys covered, and we thank you all for rocking with us through this process. So Zach, I want to present this scenario to you, and this came about on Twitter, and I was like, wow, this could happen. Cam Ward goes number 1, Abdul Carter goes number 2, Travis Hunter goes number 3, Will Campbell goes number 4, and I think this is the pick that I told Patriots fans and Cowboys fans that, the Patriots could go receiver. If they're drafting smart, they would probably take a tackle and protect Drake May. The Jags go number 5. The Jags go Mason Graham, number 5. Ashton Jeanty goes off the board at 6. I don't know how realistic that would be, especially with the Raiders needing a corner now. They are trying to move, or they did move Jack Jones. So I don't know how. And shout out to Ryan Flournoy for helping him get beat, and he beat him, and he got cut. Shout out Flournoy's one highlight all last season. So the Jets go Taylor Walker, Matthew Golden to Carolina. Could happen. You never know. I don't know if they would double down at receiver, knowing how bad that defense is, and they just drafted Xavier Legette. But let's say that they do. Ted McMillan. This is interesting, Zach, because the David Carr situation, the injury, but that doesn't mean that they're going to draft Shedeur Sanders. I've said from the beginning, I think there's a real possibility that Shedeur Sanders doesn't go in the top 10. Omarion Hampton at 10 could be interesting. Will Johnson, pick 11. All players that the Cowboys love were wiped. How would you feel about this, Zach?
Oh, this would definitely be a rough scenario, but like you said, this is completely realistic. Like the Raiders, yes, they need corner help, but it's the Raiders. Like they would definitely take a running back at 6 needing defensive help. But you look at the Panthers at 8 with Matthew Golden, like they spent so much money defensively, it would be realistic for them to try to go receiver. I mean, I know they took Legette last year. Ted McMillan, that could be a Kellen Moore selection. He's trying to get wide receiver help for eventually getting his quarterback. Maybe the most unrealistic one at 10 would be the Bears taking Omarion Hampton, but they would definitely take Ashton Jeanty if he was there at 10. They need a running back. We didn't think Gibbs was going to go at 12 that year that he got drafted as the second back, and it's something that we have to look at because I could see it happening on draft night, and Dallas is sitting there at 12 like, all right, what do we do now?
Yeah, and what I said, and this is just a high-level conversation. Me and Zach are sitting in the stands at the Senior Bowl, okay? There are going to be people here who say, oh, Foots, this is easy. Draft Jahdae Barron. Oh, Foots, this is easy. Take Emeka Egbuka. But I said, and there's a reason why Shamar Stewart has consistently been mocked in the top 10. Me and Zach are at the Senior Bowl, and we're watching the D-line play. We're watching the knockback. We're watching them do team reps. We're watching who's fitting the run, who's stacking the run. I said this would be a no-brainer. Shamar Stewart would probably be the pick depending on how their board stacked. We've also heard Brian Schottenheimer say the first position group that he mentioned was defensive end. He said You can get a pass rusher in there. Would it be a guy like James Pierce? Would it be a guy like Shamar Stewart? To me, there's people who will look at their numbers this year and say, well, Shamar Stewart didn't have a lot of sacks, was it 1.5 sacks, whatever, but he led their team in pressures. I'm here to tell you guys, teams don't draft you because of your sack production. They just don't. They look at who you are on film, they look at the measurables, and they say, we can fix this guy. Again, he's not coming to the Cowboys to be the lead pass rusher. He's coming to be a cog on this defensive line with Aaron White Cotton. I think that pick would happen. Even Michael Williams will be in play here. So how would you feel about that, Zach? Am I off?
Seeing Shamar Stewart at the Senior Bowl completely changed my perspective on it. Like, I don't even look at the pass rush production. I know it's kind of a benchmark that people look at when you're evaluating these guys, but Shamar Stewart dominated at the Senior Bowl. In team drills and one-on-ones. I've seen so many people say that that's their nightmare selection. I don't really know why. I guess it's because of the numbers, but if you go watch him play, and you would not be upset with the pick, putting him beside across from Micah Parsons, like, you're going to get after the quarterback. But I think another guy that would make a ton of sense, and we don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but you really like him in James Pierce Jr. Like, if you want production paired with talent, twitched up, insane pass rush win rate. He had like 48 pressures over the past 2 years at Tennessee, was at one time the best player in this class, like in the way too early mock drafts. I would like James Pierce Jr. as well.
Yeah, I think that the thing that I've heard with James Pierce Jr. is that he's maybe off some teams' boards. I don't know how real that is, Zach, but if you're just talking about, and that's why I gave the Cowboys and I said Shamar Stewart would be the no-brainer. I love James Pierce. Me and you have talked about Pierce for a while. Playing at Tennessee, he actually didn't play a lot of reps just because that's how most, like Georgia, Tennessee, they rotate their defensive linemen. I thought that James Pierce was better versus the run this year, and that was a great, great nugget, Zach, when it comes to the pass rush win rate. And I just think that some of these guys just need to be better finishers. Like, you see Shamar Stewart around the quarterback. He just needs to finish better. But that's what NFL coaching is for. And I got to say this, people love Mike Green. I told myself this year, if I don't like a guy, I'm not going to go out my way on Twitter or on publications to slander a guy. I got to tell you, year one, Mike Green is not going to be able to play on first and second down. He's just not. He's too light. I saw it at the Senior Bowl. He doesn't play the run correctly. There's tape where he's light. He wants to get upfield. He doesn't have the technique or really the hand power strength to consistently fit the run in the NFL. These tackles are grown men. They're not going to let you just fly upfield all game and just run around the quarterback. There are teams that are going to run at you. There are tight ends that are going to block you and double team you and reach you and do all these sorts of things. Does he have the strength, the day one power to do that? And I'm telling you, there are tackles. Lane Johnson said this. He said, I never worry about speed. I always worry about power. If you go back and watch the playoff game with Jared Verse versus Lane Johnson, Jared Verse did the best job, probably better than even Mike has ever done, of just beating Lane with power. He beat both of their tackles, Mailata and Johnson, just with power. So, this sentiment of, I don't like defensive ends that run through guys' faces. Well, there's a world for bull rushing, pushing the pocket, making these quarterbacks not have anywhere to step up, real knockback. So I think both of them, and like with Pierce, like you said, his speed to power is real. And you're not going to be able to help Pierce because you're going to be doubling or taking care of Micah Parsons. So I thought that was a good one right there, Zach. And so what we want to do today is, and Zach's going to go ahead and run the mock draft simulator. We may not get this result here, but I'm going to pull it up. And what we want to do is we want to look at what will the Cowboys do if we get in a situation where we don't get what we want in the draft. So we'll go ahead and run it. And we're going to do a 5-round mocker, and we're going to add trades.
12, Cam Ward off the board, Mason Graham, Abdul Carter, Travis Hunter. Kind of those, I think in that first 5 to 6, like, you're going to see kind of similar names. You have Ashton Genty, Will Campbell, Armand Mimbo, somebody that a lot of people like, Jahdae Barron off the board. There's Shamar Stewart at 9. I don't know what PFF has him ranked, but there might be a chance that he's gone by 12.
Yeah.
Tyler Warren off the board. There goes Mike Green. So Ted McMillan is the obvious and big name that everybody's going to say. Malachi Starks, Jahad Campbell, Will Johnson, Luther Burden, Kelvin Banks, and there's Matthew Golden down at 21. So we're obviously going to do a trade back scenario in this, and the offer that we have, which is going to be the highest pick, and I'm going to pair this with a question for you. Where are you comfortable trading back to? Are you looking at 15 to the 16 range, or are you comfortable with maybe moving back to 21, 22, 23? Like, what's the cutoff for you?
I would say the early 20s. I don't want to go like 25. That's when you start getting into, let's be honest, second round graded players, Zach. I think for me, it would be this Pittsburgh offer, if I'm looking at it correctly, looks enticing, especially if I can get extra picks this year. And I could really improve my team, because I don't think that this team is that far away. And I think that the talent, if we move back to 21 for this team's needs, would still be there, and we're getting extra picks. So now when we get to the 5th round, we've made multiple selections and we've hit linebacker, that's a need. We've hit cornerback, that's a need. So this trade offer actually does look good to me.
I agree with you. I think once you start moving back to that 23, 24, 25 draft, and some people would say in this one, there's not a ton of first round players. So even when you get outside that 15 to 16 range, maybe it starts getting a little hairy. So we'll go with the Seahawks and ask for their 3rd round pick in exchange for number 12. Let's just do that for now. We'll keep it simple. Seattle wants to come up, take a wide receiver in Ted McMillan and give you 82. You recoup a 3rd round pick, and I would feel good about that trade. Let's do that. Seattle comes up, takes Ted McMillan. He's off the board. Jalen Walker's off. Emeka Egbuka, Will Johnson. So you trade back from 12. There are some other names. Like, you really like Will Johnson. I like Egbuka. Josh Simmons might be the best tackle in this class. Jalen Walker, 18. And what do you see on the board, Foots?
If I'm making this pick, I would probably go Matthew Golden. It's somebody who they would target at 12. And honestly, you could probably go on Marion Hampton too. Well, actually, you know what? I'm gonna waffle here doing this live. Let's go on Marion Hampton, because I think that in a trade back scenario, I like O'Marion Hampton. He's the last up. So I have this thought with the running backs. I have Travion Henderson rated higher than O'Marion Hampton, but I have O'Marion Hampton as the last true one. I think the ones are Ashton Genty. I think that Travion Henderson healthy can grow into a one. I think O'Marion Hampton is already one. Doesn't have the same ceiling as Genty or Henderson, but his body, the injury history, the production, 2 years of 1,500 yards, just can't, and the speed mixed with he didn't have any help last year at North Carolina, and the O-line wasn't really great. He still played really, really good. I think you get O'Marion Hampton. I like him a little bit more than Caleb Johnson. Caleb Johnson, more of a true outside zone guy. Hampton, really gap scheme heavy. So we go Hampton. Now our running back, because the thing with running back to me is I think everybody's like, you can wait. But if you want to get a true guy, why wait? And that's how I felt about Ashton Genty. Mel Kiper's given O'Marion Hampton to the Cowboys 3 times, Zach. You pointed out to me pre-show 3 times. If you can trade back, get an extra pick, and still get a plus running back, I think I'd do that. Let's go Hampton.
Dallas should be in win now mode now. Like, Dak's under contract for the next couple years. CD just signed the big contract. You're going to extend Micah Parsons. I think right now Hampton is going to give your offense more juice and a higher floor than necessarily a Matthew Golden that doesn't have, he never had a 1,000 yard season at Texas. You know, he wasn't the wide receiver one coming into the year. So you take Hampton, you get your running back out of the way. And there's actually a good bit of wide receivers in the 2nd round, as you see here, that I really like too, if you wanted to get your wide receiver. And I pointed this out in one of my videos. The hit rate for wide receivers drops drastically from rounds 1 to 2 to 3. And then after 3, falls off a cliff. Like, you're looking at 1 out of every 200 receivers will technically be a hit after the 4th round. So I think if you don't take your wide receiver in round 1, you got to find a guy in round 2. And I think Jaden Higgins fits that perfectly. Another Senior Bowl guy. We've talked about those dudes. He tested extremely well at the combine. He ran really well. He's 6'3", 200
6'3" and a half, 6'4",
like,
basically.
he's a big body guy, but he moves really well. And if you watch him at Iowa State, like an X receiver. I think that fits really well with CD because CD plays so much in the slot. If I had the choice here, I'm going to go get my wide receiver to help this offense even more, and Jaden Higgins just stands out among all these names.
Yeah, I think that's the name right there. I was praying that you went there. Again, me and Zach didn't talk about these picks pre-show. We just said we wanted to do this on the fly and add that, that spice to it. And I would love Jaden Higgins here. I think the thing that we did say pre-show, and we were talking about Ted McMillan, but now we're talking about Jaden Higgins, the body type. The Cowboys have too many 6'1", 5'11", Kavontae Turpin, 5'10", whatever. Like, I like Brandon Cooks. I like, Jalen Brooks. I like those guys. When's the last time the Cowboys have had a big body receiver? I mean, you could say Michael Gallup, but even him, like, I want a bigger body. And the thing is, with Jaden Higgins, he can play the X, but he also is really good as a power slot. He's really good as a power slot, has really good footwork. Him and his teammate, Jaden Noel, they made a lot of plays, man. Like, these guys are ball winners, very physical. He's not going to give you much. I think he's more of a Drake London comp than Ted McMillan is, to be honest with you. Great route runner, shields you with his body very, very well. I think he'd be a good red zone target for Dak. He's very physical. He restacks receivers. It's just hard to find a lot of flaws in his game. So I like Jaden Higgins a lot, and I think that will make a lot of sense. Okay, it's on me in pick 76. Now we have that extra pick as well. So I'm feeling really good. We attacked running back. We attacked receiver. Now it's time to clean up our defense. In this scenario, I'm looking at the best players available. Andrew Makuba will be very, very tempting. Let's look at the linebackers here, Zach, before we make that pick, because I think how he would be using the Matt Eberflus defense will make a lot of sense. And right now, I like some of the linebackers. I think that Chris Paul Jr. is somebody that I really like, Barrett Carter, but none of the guys here are better than Andrew Makuba. It's not even close. Let's look at the defensive tackles. And if I don't see a defensive tackle better than Makuba, I'm just going to make the pick and feel good about it. Okay, so I do see some defensive tackles that I actually do like. And Josh Farmer would be one. But I'm gonna switch things up here. We've given the Cowboys Josh Farmer before. What about getting our one tech, Zach? What about getting our guy who's just gonna play the run, beat the center's tail every rep, and just have that knockback man that we said that we want to be able to have in order to stop the run. We address linebacker and free agency. So while we could probably upgrade there, I don't know if we could get a good D tackle anywhere else in free agency. It's going to be an older guy who probably is dealing with injuries. I'm gonna throw a curveball. I'm gonna go Maryland defensive tackle Jordan Phillips. He's rocked up. Scouts love him. He's a little shorter, but he just plays the position the right way. I watched him at Maryland. He understands two gapping. He understands leverage. This will be your Mozzie spell player, and possibly in 2 years takes over from Mozzie Smith. You let Oso Digizua continue to win as a 3-tech. Let's go Maryland defensive tackle Jordan Phillips.
And that's a position that Dallas has really yet to address outside of the Mozzie pick. Like, you got to throw some resources at stopping the run at some point, because we've talked about it for years now. You just have to maybe admit your mistake with Mozzie. He's not the player that you hoped he would be. And I like addressing the defensive interior after offense with our first couple of picks. And so when we get here at 82, Andrew Makuba is still available. Jalen Royals, obviously we've got our wide receiver, and Higgins. Kyle Williams, which is somebody that I would really like at 82 if you haven't addressed wide receiver by that point. I like quite a few of these guys, especially the running backs, but obviously we have our backs, so we're not going to do that. Here, this is what we're going to do. Let's go with an offensive lineman, an interior offensive lineman.
I like it. I like
Tate Ratledge from Georgia. You have Brock Hoffman at right guard. You've signed a couple interior players. You have a ton of competition there, like a ton. But I think you need to put a top 100 pick into it and see if you can solidify the right guard position for the next 4 years. I like Brock Hoffman. Not sure I like him for 17 games or Awesome Richards for 17 games. So drafting Tate Ratledge at 82 overall, it doesn't give you a Zach Martin replacement, but maybe somebody that could develop with a year. I like Tate Ratledge a lot from Georgia.
I think this makes sense because they're telling you that we're going to address it in free agency. Brought in Sadiq Charles. Don't know how much he can give you. I mean, he was slated to be Tennessee's starter, then he retired. So that's great news. But that's also a dollar store like type, just make sure that he's okay type vibe. Like make sure that the line is okay. We don't know if Brock Hoffman's really ready to take that next step. We don't know if TJ Bass is really ready to take that next step. We don't know what Robert Jones is going to give you. Keep throwing bodies at the position. And Tate Ratledge is somebody who 1 year of great production, one and done. I'm out of there. And I'm okay with that because in a weaker O-line class, he's betting on himself. And I'm fine with that. I would be fine with this pick. Let's go Tate Ratledge for sure.
And I know that Dallas doesn't really put a whole lot of stock into to athleticism. Like they're not one of the highest RAS score teams in the league. But Tate Ratledge was ranked 8th out of 1,700 guards from 1987 to 2025. Like a 9.96 relative athletic score. He's a little smaller. He's about in the 52nd percentile for weight. So not undersized by any means, but his composite grade for his speed, explosion, top notch.
I love that pick, Zach. And it just feels better being able to hit different needs. You get to the 5th round, and now you say, you know what? My football team is better. You got our running back. We got our receiver. Let's look at the cornerback room. I think the safety room is okay. Let's look at the cornerback room, and instantly I already see a few players that I love. And we know I think you were already about to click it. But this is one that I've given us before, or you've given us before. I would do a backflip if this guy was here in the 5th round. I'm not even going to look at any other positions. Now, you could look at linebacker, but seeing as to what was there, and they like Carson Schlesinger, by the way. And I tell people that he could be in play at 44. The Dallas Cowboys coaches worked him out at his pro day. He could be in play. So linebacker is still in play. But I think when we drafted Jordan Phillips, we said we're being serious about stopping the run this year, and we're getting everything that we need for Matt Eberflus to be able to stop the run. That being said, take it right back over to them corners, Zach. Go ahead. Just run back over there. We are going to draft Quincy Riley. We're not even going to think about this. Here's what I love about Quincy Riley. And me and you sitting in the stands, I'm going to say this till I'm blue in the face. Me and Zach were sitting in the stands, watching these prospects. We're like, who is this corner, this lanky guy who is playing in the slot? He's playing on the edge. And I thought outside of Maxwell Harrison, who's obviously going to be a top 50 pick easily, Quincy Riley was one of the better, if not the second best corner at the Senior Bowl. Then when you cut on his film, he has great ball production. He wants to hit you. He will tackle you. We have a need in the nickel. He can also play on the edge. This could be your Jordan Lewis replacement. Quincy Riley, you're a Cowboy. Come on down.
And I think that's something that Dallas is going to really like with Riley. He can play inside. He can play outside. You have a need really at both with Diggs. Obviously, Jordan Lewis is gone. I think he would be an awesome slot corner. And like you said, great ball production at Louisville. I really liked his tape. I literally watched it as soon as we got home from the Senior Bowl because I'm like, he just kept standing out the entire time that we were there. So 174, and we're going to cap this at 5 rounds. And I haven't watched him. I have not watched Jordan Hancock. I haven't got very far into the safeties, watched the top 3 or 4 safeties, but It is a position that I said I wanted to address just because Donovan Wilson's contract's over, Malik Hooker's contract's over. Like you're kind of getting to the end of the road, I think, with those guys. And there's 2 names on here, RJ Mickens and Jordan Hancock. You brought back Wanye Thomas and Marquise Bell. I still think I would like to throw one at the position. What do you have any opinions on some of the guys here over maybe a safety? Obviously, if we didn't have Joe Milton, it would probably be Quinn Ewers because they needed a quarterback so bad. But if you had any thoughts on this round,
Quinn Ewers would probably be in play to me. You know how we both feel about Jalen Lane. I think he's going to be a really good move player. Kind of that Josh Downs vibe in the NFL receiver from Virginia Tech. You know how I feel about Ty Robinson. I think this safety, you could go Malachi Moore here. I'm with you. I think that our safety room is good. I think that it can also stand to be upgraded. I did a video on Andrew Makuba. I'll be fine with Andrew Makuba, Zach. So I'll be fine with one of these safeties. I think I would go safety as well. I think so. Whatever safety that you like here in the fit, just to add a special teams depth piece, Although Wanye, that's going to be like his main goal. But can one of these guys come in, maybe push one of these safeties if somebody gets hurt and they don't like what they have on the yard? We could one of these guys, like you said, Hancock or Mickens, who I like both of those guys, but I think they're slotted where they should be. With the safety position, Zach, all of these guys are going to get pushed down because the positional value is one of those positions like linebacker, like running back before this year that just doesn't get the love that it once did.
The value is not there. But let's go with RJ Mickens from Clemson. This is how it comes out. Dallas trades 18 back to 18, gets Seattle's the 82nd overall pick. Omarion Hampton, Jaden Higgins, Jordan Phillips, Tate Ratledge, Quincy Riley, and RJ Mickens. And I kind of like this. We hit like every single spot, and that's what Dallas has got to do because there are holes on this roster.
There are holes in this roster, and I feel like if you had this type of haul, you feel good about your team. Like, I know PFF gave us a C for the Hampton pick, but it's about projection, right? It's about looking at it and saying, this is who the Cowboys, it's not about the rankings, and this is why I didn't do a top 100. Obviously, we put these players in where we think they should be slotted. But we live in a world where you have to read the tea leaves, right, Zach? We need to, if Mel Kiper's saying something, I very seriously doubt he's just pulling this. These guys want to be right on their mocks. They want to be, they don't want to be blindsided. They want to say, hey, I told you. Hey, well, and Mel definitely does. And I think that Mel talks to a lot of people. I think in a trade down situation, right? You getting Omarion Hampton, you feel a lot better about that, right? I think getting Jaden Higgins in the second round, which is very realistic. Something that wasn't realistic in this mock was just seeing Kyle Williams slide. I'm just here to tell people that's not going to happen. The day of, the week of, he'll probably be one of the biggest risers. I feel really good about this haul. And I think that, the team got better. And I think this is a realistic situation with Seattle coming up, getting their guy, Dallas still getting the running back that they want. I feel good about it. And we didn't have to move back too far.
Exactly. Last year, you think about Dallas moving back, and they got Tyler Guyton and Cooper Beebe. I think people are a lot more comfortable than just getting Hampton at 12, but being able to move back, get Hampton at 18, and pick up Tate Ratledge, and maybe you have a guard, a really high upside guard, maybe a little bit of development, but another piece for this offensive line, because I think people think that's a need as well. And the rankings are really all over the place with this class. Like, I think really in round one, there's going to be a ton of surprises come draft night. Like, you're going to be like, is that guy a first round pick, or why is he sliding? I just think they're all over the place. But for this draft, awesome. It'd be awesome.
And listen, guys, I think being able to move back and get that extra third, because the sweet spot is the middle rounds in this draft. We have our quarterback. We have our number one receiver. We have a dominant defensive end. We need to get role players who can come in, step in, and just play good football. I will feel good about this, Zach.
That's going to do it for us today. Like Foots talked about earlier in the video, just kick it off. We will be live for the NFL draft. Hopefully all 32 picks. Dallas picks pretty early in the night at 12 unless they start moving back. But we will be live with Skywalker Steel, me, Foots, Sky. And don't forget about the draft guide. Tons of stuff on there. I think I told Foots earlier, we're up 210 pages. Like, we're rocking and rolling. Just got to keep putting all that player information in and getting that fleshed out. But come NFL draft night, you will be ready. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, subscribe to me, subscribe to Foots. We'll see you later. Bye.
All right. Love you guys. Peace.